Hey friends, EJ here with the Back Porch Antiques, and I'm going to share with you today my understanding of the top 5 things you should never do when pursuing a resale adventure in the world of antiques and vintage sales. So last week we talked about 5 things that you should do. This week we're going to talk about 5 things that you shouldn't do. Now, there may be a little bit of overlap there, but I promise if you will adhere to these 5 concepts, it will most definitely help your business. Why do I know that? Not that I'm that good, that I have experienced these sorts of things one way or another as either a reseller myself or as the owner of the Back Porch Antiques who sees the productive, the productive measures of vendors who are successful in this realm. So number 5, we're going to kind of count down today, but not necessarily in level of importance, but kind of that way. So number 5 is not knowing your stuff. The best way that you can lose money and not be successful at reselling in the antique and vintage world is to not know what you're selling, not know what you're doing. I don't really care what realm you're in, you got to know what you're doing. A wise man told me one time, he said, you can make money at anything if you are an expert at it. And that is the case. I have witnessed experts in my field in many different subcategories who have made money in all different areas. So there are some expert glass people, there are some expert crockware people, there are expert in advertising, things like that. Being an expert is awesome and it will make you money, but if you are in the reselling business, you need to know a little bit about everything. Find yourself some resources and learn about them. Dive into it, look into the comps on eBay. You've heard me talk about that before. I don't want to bore you to death, but it's important that you know what you're selling. My worst fear as a reseller is to find something at some sort of sourcing option, an auction or a yard sale or something, get it for 10 bucks, sell it for 40, think I've done my absolute best, and then later find out that that particular piece is worth, I don't know, $10,000. That may sound weird to you, but one specific story I can remember recalling, and this is one of those like he said, she said things, but I believe it to be the truth. There was a local croc that was at an estate, and this auction company was selling out this estate, and again, I don't know the exact specifics, but this is the story as I remember it. The auction company had looked over this particular piece. It was actually holding open a door. They had loaded everything up and they were going to actually throw this piece away. And somebody said, no, don't throw that away, we'll throw it in the auction. So the individual buys it from the auction for not much money at all, sells it for a little bit more money. The next person sells it for quite a bit more money, and by the time it's over, that particular piece brought something in the lines of $50,000. So that was a piece that was going to be thrown away. So in order to make money in this business, you got to know as much as you can, or at least a little bit about everything, and especially the things that you sell. So put in the legwork in knowing what needs to be known. Number 4, never partner with the wrong people. If you partner with the wrong people, it doesn't matter how hard you work, you're going to be circling the drain. If you are a booth vendor and you partner with an organization that is always negative, never does the work, has a bad reputation, or doesn't engage in marketing and things like that, if you partner with somebody like that, they're not going to get the people in the door in order to sell your things. And that will be frustrating for you because you're going to be thinking, hey, I'm doing everything right, I've got good stuff, I know what I'm doing, I'm pricing it well, and my stuff's still not selling. Well, it may not be your fault. Be slow, I guess, as a store owner. I would suggest that you be slow to place the blame on the store owner, but give credit where credit is due, and never partner with the wrong people. Number 3, don't buy too high. Your money is made in the buy. If you're in the reselling business, you make your profit when you buy something. I have in my mind a kind of a formula of where I need to be in something. And that formula varies from piece to piece, and it varies from price level to price level, like from $1 to $100, it's a certain number, and then from $100 to $500, it's a certain number, and then from $500 on up, it's kind of a certain number. But just as a rule of thumb, I like to buy things at 40% of retail because I like to double my money on things. Now that might, if you're not in the resale business, that may sound a little offensive to you because you're thinking, well, why would I sell something to EJ when he's going to make twice what I will? Well, the answer to that is that I have an access to marketing. I buy things from you, and it doesn't have to be a hassle, those sorts of things. And I have an extreme amount of overhead, so it's not like I'm making a killing on that. But build yourself a formula to where you can be whatever it is you want that end rate to be. If you want to clear 20%, if you want to clear 50%, if you want to clear 100%, build yourself a formula and buy off of that formula. It's all about the math. I mean, you may look at that guy and say, hey, he's in overalls. He probably doesn't know the math. But, yep, that's the way that I work this business to be profitable, is that I have to buy it right. So don't be afraid to say no. Even if it's a good piece and it's outside of your parameters, don't be afraid to say no. Simply say, hey, I've got to be here is where I need to be. And if you can't do that, that's okay. Maybe I can help you sell it. If you're feeling like you want to be a great guy and you want to be a friend and you can't get together with that particular piece, maybe you can help them sell it. Which brings me to the next point of number 2, selling too high. There are a lot of people in this business who don't sell things because they've priced it too high. Now that may sound simple to you or simplistic, but the fact of the matter is that there are lots of people like you and I who are resellers who want to get a good deal. And if you've watched our videos before, you'll understand that there are certain things that will sell geographically better in certain locations. You might find something that will sell good here and not good 100 miles from here, and vice versa. And resellers are traveling the country trying to find something that they can make a living on. Which is totally understandable. That's what we do. So that being said, when you price your things, I would suggest that you don't reach for the high retail value. Now, if you can do that, that's great. If you can get all the profit, then that's awesome. But my understanding is that it will limit you in your buyers. It will limit you to just the collectors of those specific items. If you can lower the price a little bit and tap into the market of the reseller, then you're opening yourself up to many more buyers. Which, if you're familiar with any kind of financial lingo at all, that offers you liquidity. You can turn over your money pretty quick. If I invest $100 in an item and price it at $60 and sell it quickly, then I can, or if I invest $100 in an item and price it at $160 and sell it quickly, then I'm much better off than if I would have sold it at $200 and had to wait a long time to sell it. I can turn that money over, invest it into more pieces, and it's kind of a compound interest effect that will make you more money in the long run. So buy it right, sell it quickly, and invest that money in more things. And that's a good way to make more money quicker. So be thinking about that. Which brings me to my last point, I think, which is the most important point in the reselling adventure. You have to put in the work. In your booth space, you have to be moving stuff around. You got to keep it looking neat. You got to keep new things. You got to be outsourcing. You got to be out marketing. There's a lot of work that goes into this. If it's a hobby, then expect hobby returns. It's no big deal. If that's what you want to do as a hobby and you enjoy it, then pursue it as a hobby. If you want to do it as a side hustle, then you got to put a little hustle in it. If you want to do it for a living, then you got to put a lot of hustle in it. So it's one of those things, like anything else, that you get out of it what you put into it. If you want to be successful in this business, you got to put in the work. And I don't think I have to tell you that, because if you're watching this video, you're probably putting in the work. That being said, if you get the chance, like and subscribe, ring that bell so that we can share with you some other wonderful ideas at some point or another. But thanks for watching, and share this video if you get a chance. EJ at the Back Porch, I'm out.